Alright, in this video we're going to be going over the male reproductive system in the shark. So to start us off, we need to reveal the testis. So we're going to reflect back the skin and muscle, and the testis can be found under the liver. So we're going to pull back the liver to reveal the testis. We can also see the mesorchium with efferent ductules just above it. It's kind of like a mesentery next to what is the stomach. So we have the testis and the mesorchium with the efferent ductules. We're going to try to zoom in here to take a look at some other features. So we also have the epididymis here in this anterior region. So we're going to take a look right here. The epididymis is part of a structure where you're going to find also the latex glands and the ductus deferens, but the epididymis is the most anterior portion of it. So we're going to get some of this liquid out of the way. The epididymis would be closest up here. We have the epididymis. Next we would be moving down a little bit to the latex gland. And like I said, this is all basically just a region of a linear structure. And so the latex gland would also be in this region right here. You would start to see coiling in this area, which would indicate the ductus deferens, which kind of sit on top of this structure in this region. The coiling is the ductus deferens. And then more posterior, we would have the kidney, which would be here as well, kind of closer to the rectal gland, which is this right here. So when you are asked a question about this on the test, the kidney is going to be more posterior, and the latex gland and epididymis would be more anterior. And so there'll be indicators about basically what he wants you to ask, so that there's no confusion, since they all are basically on the same structure. We're going to move further down. We would see the seminal vesicles. Also near the rectal gland, a little more posterior. Typically the seminal vesicle would be right about here. Because this is such a young shark and a small shark, they're not as big as they typically would be. Typically they'd be a lot more swollen and easier to see, but because it's such a young shark, they're not as prominent here. And then we can also see down here we have the opening of the urogenital papilla. So we're going to look in here, and the opening is going to be in this little area. We'll clean it out a bit. We can see the opening right here. It's just like a little tiny triangular portion. That is the opening of the urogenital papilla. We can also see the sperm sac if we look a little deeper in here. We can see the sperm sac. Again, since this is such a young shark, it's not going to be as prominent, and it would be bigger if this was an older shark. But this little white line right here would be the sperm sac, and because it is such a young shark, it's not as big as it typically would be. It would typically be a little bit more inflated. But that right there is going to be the sperm sac. In other sharks, it would be in that general area. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see that little white line right there. And then finally, we have the claspers with the spine, which is also seen on the male shark. So we have the claspers and the spine. And that is all of the features of the male reproductive system on the shark that you need to know.